Hello everyone, my name is Grant, and welcome to the Young F1 Fans channel. Like my partner Isaac, I am a young F1 fan, and I haven't been watching Formula One since 1988. The first season I watched in full actually was in 2012. And since I haven't been watching in 1988, ding dong, my opinion is wrong. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into the Italian Grand Prix review. Now, before we get into the race review, I don't think we can go with talking about the Italian Grand Prix without mentioning Q3, or should I say, the M25 during rush hour. Now, in my opinion, Q3 was actually very entertaining, and it's the only time in modern F1 that you'll see so many cars on track so close together. And the ending was very funny. Almost none of the drivers made the lap. I think it was only Sainz that made it through. Now, on to the race. Let's start with obvious place, the start of the race, with Verstappen. He had a very cautious start, which is unusual, but very welcome change. However, the cars ahead of him were a lot slower into the corner than I think he was expecting. He did take some very good avoiding action, but he did still end up damaging his front wing and having to take to the escape road. Moving later into the race, we get to the spincident. Yes, Vettel spun again. And his re-entry was very dangerous, and he actually ended up taking out Stroll, who also ended up spinning as a result. Stroll did the same thing, though. He re-entered the course, and he took out Pierre Gasly, who was very unlucky, as per usual at this point. But I think Vettel's movement was less justified than Stroll's, as Vettel was completely off the track when he had stopped moving, but Stroll was still on the track and right on the apex of the corner, so I think his movement was a lot more justified than Vettel's was. Let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are. So now we get to Sainz versus Ricciardo. Is that you? Nope, that's Alex Albon. What a brilliant move. Although it wasn't quite like the Ricciardo move on Valtteri Bottas, since Sainz did kind of punt Albon off the track at Lesmo 1, which was kind of uncalled for. It was kind of similar to Verstappen versus Leclerc in Austria in many ways. I think Sainz could have left more room, but then again, it was kind of a silly place for Albon to try and hold around the outside. Now, on to the main attraction of this race and what made it so good. Leclerc versus the Mercedes. Now, the big question that I've been seeing and that Isaac asked me was, did Leclerc win fairly? I personally think yes, he did. The best way for me to put evidence to what I'm saying is to compare this race to last year with Verstappen versus Bottas, and in Austria in 2019 with Leclerc versus Verstappen. We'll start comparing it to last year with Verstappen against Bottas. We will start with the corner cut, because I know both of them did almost the exact same thing as each other, and the only difference was Verstappen gained time from his corner cut. Leclerc didn't, and that's something to keep in mind. Also, the fact that Verstappen had actually cut the corner before the squeeze incident, whereas Leclerc had done it after. Now, Max, for his corner cut, was given a warning. Leclerc, obviously doing it after, hadn't been giving a warning yet. But, that being said, Isaac asked me, now why would Verstappen receive a penalty for squeezing Bottas when he wasn't warned about that before? Before this, he was warned about the corner cut, and that's not the same thing. Now, this is a very good point. It isn't the same thing, but my argument to that is, if we were, say, in a running race, and I had slowed down for some reason, say my shoelace was untied, and you caught up to me, and I cut a corner in order to keep you behind me. And then, later on, when you caught up to me again and tried to pass me, I tripped you. Sure, I didn't do the same thing twice, but you would want me to receive a penalty since I had done something to stop you from overtaking me twice. Another point to throw on top of that is the fact that Max did swerve much more severely towards Bottas and actually hit him, whereas Leclerc, there might have been contact, but it was extremely minimal, and Leclerc still left some of the road and the curb for Hamilton to be on, whereas Max just basically pushed Bottas onto the grass. Now, some may argue that when Leclerc cut the corner, after he had already squeezed Hamilton, he deserved a penalty for that because he had already stopped Hamilton from overtaking by cheating twice. Now, my argument to that is Leclerc didn't gain time from his corner cut, and if anything, it actually gave Hamilton a chance to overtake. Hamilton wouldn't have tried to overtake into that first corner. You could tell he was behind him, he was tucked in, he wasn't going for an overtake there. And when Leclerc came out of the chicane, having jumped over the sausage curbs, was slowed down a lot. And it actually gave Hamilton a chance into the second chicane to overtake him. But obviously it didn't happen. Leclerc defended very well. That being said, this defense was on the limit. Now, comparing this race to Austria, I think Leclerc had learned from Austria after Max had attacked him and Leclerc didn't defend as aggressively as he did in Monza, and he ended up being punted wide by Max, and Max obviously didn't receive a penalty, so I think he kind of took that to heart, and he learned that in order to win a race, you have to be much more aggressive, especially when you're being attacked by cars that are faster and have fresher tires. Hamilton, after the race, said he didn't know that they could be that aggressive, and he says he will from now on. Now, that to me sounds a lot like Charles after Austria. And that overall to me says Leclerc won this race fair and square, and he fully deserved it. And what a race to watch. That was absolutely brilliant. And I think we may finally start to get the racing we're wanting to see, as long as the cars can follow each other, of course. We'll have to wait till 2021 in order to see if that becomes more of a reality. So that's all for this race review. Thank you very much for watching. As I said earlier in the video, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. We will love to read them and see what you have to say. Who knows, maybe you'll change our opinions. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you after the next race. Bye-bye.